Welcome to TFE Talks, Navigating Wealth, Business, and Legacy, the podcast from Thomas Fisher and Edwards. Each episode, our attorneys bring you expert insight on estate planning, business strategy, and legacy building, breaking down complex topics into clear, actionable advice. Whether you're solidifying a strategy we've discussed or preparing for what's next, this podcast is your resource for thoughtful, practical planning. You ready? Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to another special bonus edition of TFE Talks. I'm your host, Jordan Goway, joined again by a new associate here at the firm, Ben Ferris. Ben, thanks for joining us today.
Jordan, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to join TFE Talks today and get to know everybody a little bit.
Yeah, so Ben, you're one of two new associates that we have here at the firm. You've been working with us for a few weeks now, though you've actually been working remotely for quite a while you attended LLM school. And so give us a bit of your background. Where are you from? Where did you go to school, and what brought you here?
Yeah, so I originally grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, went to UGA, University of Georgia for undergrad, go Dogs, South Carolina for law school, and then just recently this spring finished up my tax LLM up at NYU. Originally from the Southeast, kind of had a footprint down here, and then I went up to New York for the tax LLM.
Yeah, and so with your Charlotte and your Georgia connections, it certainly makes sense that you would end up right here in the middle of I-85.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here in the South. My fiance Molly's from Atlanta. Obviously, I'm from Charlotte, so a little bit of a Southern city rivalry there. So we settled on Greenville, kind of right in between us both, and good access to both cities and a great state in South Carolina.
Yeah. And so what attracted you to estate planning and business law in particular?
So when I was in law school, I was really looking for a practice area where I felt like I could find some importance in the work. And then getting some exposure to estate planning and business law, it really provided that importance I was looking for. You know, all the work you're doing with families to create a legacy, to preserve their life's work, and kind of navigate difficult family situations at times to set up families for now and future generations. So I felt like it was kind of an intersection of interesting work and doing something meaningful for your clients that had a lasting impact on their lives.
Yeah, no, that's certainly something that I've found fulfilling about our work, and I'm glad that that's something that attracted you to the practice as well. Is there anything in particular that made you want to work for Thomas Fisher and Edwards in particular?
I think I was just impressed in the interview process, back in law school. It's been a couple years now. But throughout the interview process and the visits here, with the level of attorneys and also really the level of staff, everybody's so capable, smart, caring. There's a great culture here. And it felt like I was going to somewhere where, in a growing city, Greenville, a firm that was growing and excelling right along with the city. So I was just impressed by the culture, the people, and felt like it would be a great place to start my career.
Yeah, and hopefully all of that proves to be true, because we're certainly excited to have you here at the firm. We're going to have a bit of fun and do a lightning round here with some questions. So what is your favorite restaurant?
So my favorite restaurant in South Carolina, it's probably a common answer, but it's got to be Hall's Chop House. Greenville location, obviously. Columbia location, I visited a few times in law school, and then there's one down in Charleston. Haven't been to that one yet, but have definitely been to the Columbia and Greenville one, and the service there is unbelievable. The food's great. I'd recommend anyone go there and try the bison. If you haven't ever had bison before, it's a great cut of meat, and they do it right there. So I would say Hall's Chop House for the South Carolina area. I got to give a special shout out to Caruso's Grocery in D.C. That's got to be my favorite restaurant outside of the Southeast. It's a small Italian place up in Capitol Hill, and it's just awesome. They've got great pasta, great kind of you kind of feel like you're in Italy when you're in there with how small and home, family feeling that it is. So I'll shout out those two restaurants as two of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a great sale. I certainly love Hall's as well, and I'll have to add Caruso to my list for the next time I'm up in DC. What is your coffee order of choice?
So I'm boring there. It's just I usually just get cold brew black. No extras, no inclusions, nothing. Just cold brew black. Kind of grew an affinity for Dunkin' Donuts while I was up in New York. A large cold brew black from there is kind of my morning go-to, pick me up, if you will. But Nothing special there. You'll have to go to somebody else to get a bunch of extras. Just cold brew black for me.
We like it efficient. Efficiency works for us. And so are you a fan of books or podcasts?
Really both. I'm an avid sports fan. So, in the podcast and book industry, there's great options for both. Podcast, during football season, there's so many you can listen to. Also a huge golfer. So love the golf podcast in major championship weeks. And then I'm also, constantly reading books about some of my favorite athletes, favorite coaches, favorite teams. So, it's hard for me to say either. I enjoy taking in information from both.
And I didn't prepare you for this question at all, but what's your golf handicap like these days?
Right now I'm at a 2.5, right around there. So, have played a decent amount since I got back from New York. It's tough to play up there. You usually got to take the train or at least the subway out to the edge of the city. So didn't play much up there, but I've enjoyed getting back into it when I can on the weekends down here. And yeah, lifelong golfer. Played, from the time I was 4 or 5 years old. So definitely a top hobby of mine.
Yeah, and that's a talent that no other attorneys in the firm really had. And so one of our first experiences with you were shortly after we hired you as a law clerk. We took you to a charity tournament and you almost had a hole-in-one, and that's a video that's been shared throughout the firm. So we're certainly happy to have you around, if nothing else, just because it gives us a legitimate golfer on the team, that we're certainly excited about your attorney work as well. One final lightning round question. How about beach or mountains?
Mountains for me. Like I was saying, I actually grew up playing golf in the West Georgia mountains. My grandparents lived up there, and I'd go up there in the summers and just play golf all summer with my grandfather. And so I kind of grew up accustomed to a little bit cooler weather in the summers, access to a lake, good hiking. So I've always been mountains, although, no shade at anyone who loves a little sunshine at the beach.
Sure. And fortunately, being here in South Carolina, you've got pretty easy access to both. And so taking it back to something that's a bit more serious again, what excites you the most about working here at Thomas Fisher & Edwards, and how do you anticipate being able to assist the clients here with the firm?
Yeah, so it goes back to what I was touching on earlier, but I'm just excited to work alongside people who are successful, interesting people, and they're trying to set up themselves, their children, their grandchildren with a plan for life. And so I think what excites me about that is being able to work alongside a family, a client for generations. You might meet the initial grandparents at one point early in your career, and then later in your career be working with their children and their grandchildren and maintaining that same family legacy and working with the clients in order to, ensure that they navigate these generations the right way is definitely exciting, and I can't wait to get involved with it.
Yeah, and we can't wait to see you take off here in your career and watch you continue to improve over time and get you involved with clients as soon as possible. And hopefully this podcast has been able to serve as a good introduction to our clients and our potential clients out there, and we'll get you lined up with some of those very soon here. Thanks for joining me today, Ben. I look forward to continuing to work with you here at the firm, and we're excited to have you on board.
Thanks, Jordan. I look forward to hopefully getting back on here soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to TFE Talks. For more information, please visit our website at www.tfelawfirm.com. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram by clicking the links below in the show notes. If you have any questions about topics discussed in the episode, or you have recommendations for future topics, please email us at info@tfelawfirm.com. See you next time.